Hello, Felipe. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you just about how you plan to just work psychologically with your team coming into this game tomorrow. I mean, Philadelphia, widely regarded as a very good team in MLS, a favorite in the East. Gabriel Heinze just gave you and your staff a lot of praise, but you're coming off a loss and they're coming off a win. They're playing at home. How are you approach that? Just that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, if you look at the performance against Miami, who was a good team, I was overall, and I spoke with our players about this. I was happy with how we performed. We certainly fell asleep on two key plays in a big moment, and then obviously suffered a loss at home, which hasn't happened often in the past several years. So. It hurts, and I don't want to mistake that. Everybody was disappointed and upset, but when you look at the individual performances of the players, I couldn't be more happy with the effort that they put into the game. And you stress to them that if we continue to play like that, the results will go our way. So, an early loss, a good wake up call for our group. Obviously, when you look at Atlanta and the job that Gabriel Hintze has done in a very short amount of time, you see. A clear identity, both with and without the ball. You can tell that they're getting better and better. And I thought that their game against Chicago was probably their strongest performance. So it's a team that's very organized. I think some of the new additions, the player Sosa is very impressive in his ability to control the tempo of the game, to take away the opponent's top player. Really jumps off the page when you look at all of their games and analyze them. So they've been very tough to break down. They don't concede a lot of chances. And then going forward, they obviously have a lot of good attacking pieces. I think Barco is as fit as I've ever seen him in terms of the running and the distance that he's covering on the field, both offensively and defensively. So it's a really strong team. And it has some familiar faces, but also has some new faces. And obviously, their coach deserves a lot of credit for implementing a style and an identity very quickly, because it's very clear how they want to play, and they're playing some really good soccer right now. It's a opponent we respect a great deal. We know it's always difficult to come into this building in Atlanta, but our mentality in the Champions League with a chance to now move on to a semifinal is to survive and advance. That has to be our mindset. We'll put everything we have into the game. The league gets put on hold right now because Champions League is the priority. I don't expect both teams to change a ton. You could see maybe I expect Josef Martinez, and I expect maybe a change from us from forward just for some fresh legs. But overall, you'll see two really good teams go at it over the two legs, and hopefully we can be organized defensively and limit their chances.
We'll continue with Jonathan Tannenwald. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jim. First of all, how is Stuart Findlay at this point in case you need him, whether tomorrow or at the weekend? And second of all, you haven't played this Atlanta team since 2019, since the playoffs. Obviously, both teams have changed a lot since then, but do you think that matters?
First with Stuart, obviously, he had a long layoff, almost 6-7 weeks, including injury and some visa issues. But he's getting up to speed. He's getting used to his teammates. As you've noticed, we've had to kind of, platoon with the bench, having two center backs on the bench, just because both guys, Colin and Stuart, are working towards that 90 minutes of fitness. It's challenging because the schedule hasn't allowed us to maybe get them some minutes with the reserve group, but this is part of it. We recognize if there's an injury, if we need them late in games, they're both guys that we fully trust. But we're going to be all hands on deck to get a result tomorrow night, and then we'll start to think about and piece together the strongest group for New York City. You certainly could see him play more minutes, obviously, in these next two games. I think that's a real possibility. In terms of having not played Atlanta, it is a bit strange, not crossing paths with them last year, not in the bubble, not in any of our games. But, certainly you want to test yourself against the best. Atlanta has been one of the best franchises in our league. When you come down to this stadium, I can tell everybody it's as hard a place to play as there is in our league. It's a situation where now I think MLS teams have done well in this competition, and this is a scenario where obviously one of us is guaranteed to move into a semifinal. we want that to be us. But look, I like playing against Atlanta because they're a high quality opponent. You get to learn a lot about your team. I won't say that I love coming down here and playing in front of the big crowd and how difficult they make it with their fans on you. But these are fun games. They're usually fast tempo. And you look at what Hensei's done in a short amount of time with their group. It's going to be a very difficult match.
We'll continue with Joe Tansey. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Hi, Joe.
With the short turnaround, I know you guys flew in yesterday, so it's more unique than the Sunday or Saturday, Wednesday you're used to. I know most of the first team guys are going to be out there, but how do you kind of manage in the build-up to that and then throughout the game, the kind of wear these guys have had on their legs early on in the season?
Yeah, look, due to COVID, travel has become a little bit simpler for us in that we are always on charter flights now. So we're I'll just say that there's a little less stress. It's a little quicker. You're basically, right into a bus and onto a plane, off the plane, and you take the bus right to the hotel. There's no real downtime or wasted time. So that part is good. Look, it's early in the season. You want to focus on points being at a premium in league for sure. But this is now the most important game of this week, and we're going to approach it as such. Sure, guys are tired, but we recovered, I thought, pretty well. We got feedback from all the players. We trained today, and the group that started the game last time is feeling good. Like I said, we won't make any excuses about fatigue because both teams are on the same amount of rest. Would you like that extra day? Of course, I think both teams would. And then you'd also like a Sunday league game. But yeah, this is part of it. Our group will be up to the challenge. It's a big challenge. But we have 2 legs now. This will be halftime of this tie. This 90 minutes will be basically halftime. So we want to set ourselves up by not conceding and then maybe trying to steal a goal, a very valuable away goal. Obviously, VAR comes back into the competition. There's yellow card suspensions that both teams will have an eye on and try and avoid. But overall, we'll put everything into this game to make our fans proud, to make the city proud, and try to move on to a semifinal.
We'll continue with Tom Budget. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
How you doing, Tom?
All right, thanks. I guess how much different of a challenge is this playing another MLS side in the CONCACAF Champions League, both on the front of, after playing Saprissa in the first round and then say this being different than, a regular season game against Atlanta?
Yeah, look, obviously when you're traveling internationally, it has a different feel to it. It makes it obviously feel unique. It makes it feel more like the Champions League. To play an MLS team, it makes it feel a little bit more like a league game. I think that's only natural. But you can feel a little bit of a sense of urgency with our guys, recognizing the opportunity and speaking with them as crazy as it seems to start to dream about it. You start to think about the winner of this competition and what that means. The opportunity to potentially play against a Man City or a champion from Brazil and all the things that entails. So it's not as crazy and as far off as you may think. You get through your next 2 legs and then you're into a final. So we treat it very serious, just like Atlanta will. It's a real test for us. Certainly it's balancing a lot of early challenging games in our season, but this is what we want to test our players against. This is what the coaching staff wants. This is what we wanted for our club. So we don't want to just be happy to be here. We're proud to be here. We also want to move on, survive and advance like I always talk about. But Atlanta will present a lot of challenges and obviously wants the same thing.
Do we have any other further questions for head coach Curtin? Please raise your virtual hand. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Jim. 2 midfield situations right now. You've had Leon at the 8 and Jamiro at the 10. Have you thought about going with Jamiro at the 8 and moving Anthony back?
Yeah, it was. We talked about it for this game. We still haven't fully decided. We trained today. I won't reveal exactly how we're going to go. I think both are really good options. Miro's proven to be a good a guy that can kind of collect the ball in a deep spot and start your buildup. But I also believe as you get him closer to goal, I think he's a guy that if he played that position for 34 games, he'd get you 10 goals and 12 assists or somewhere in that vicinity, which is great output. So he's a high quality player. We're at our best when he's on the ball as much as possible. I think everybody's seen that. Anthony is still a guy in the run of play that we have to get on the ball more as well, whether it's as a sub, whether it's as a starter. Obviously we all know how good he is around the goal, but in terms of touching the ball and making an impact on the game, that maybe hasn't been as much, whether he's at a striker or a 10. So, look, we have good players. Unfortunately, only 11 can start. We will have to sub probably a little earlier, as will Atlanta, as we do get heavy legs in this game. So both teams will have to go to those benches, but we'll field our strongest group to start the game versus this tough opponent in Atlanta, and then kind of take it in 15-minute blocks down the stretch.
We'll do 2 more questions. We'll go with Jonathan, and then we'll finish with Felipe. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thanks. Jim, any update on El Seno yet?
He did not make the trip. Picked up a groin injury, reaching for a ball. Feel awful for him. He was kind of devastated, because he worked so hard to get back from his initial injury. But this is a new one with the groin. Just kind of it went, and obviously we were proactive and got him out of the game. It's tough, man, because he's so important and he gives us a little more depth, obviously, and scares the opponent. But we don't have that luxury now. So again, we're a little bit thin in terms of guys that can come off the bench and change the game. But, we can't make excuses. We have to survive this one. But it looks like El Seno, unfortunately, will be missing some more time.
Go ahead, Felipe.
Thanks. Jim, if it's been a while, but what do you think is the biggest difference between both these sides from 2019? You played that playoff game without your number 9. They had a new coach, that had several different players. A lot of the championship players were in that side. You've mentioned the identity, but what do you think has changed from that matchup in 2019?
Yeah, it feels like forever ago, to be honest. I have to say, I don't know whether it's the pandemic that makes that seem like such a distant memory. But look, they're still a great franchise. Obviously, they had a down year last year and made some changes, at the top. But yeah, you look at their group up the spine of their team, it's still familiar. When you look at Guzan, an old teammate and still a great goalkeeper in our league, Miles Robinson, I think is playing at a high level. I think as this year goes by, the more I've watched Sosa, I think he's going to be one of the best signings that there's been in our league in the off season. Barco has come to life, and obviously no secret that they missed Josef Martinez last year as well. So it's a group that's probably similar to us right now, as we're not both at our maximum. I think that we're both teams that have a good mix of really talented young players and good experienced veterans. And 2 teams that press very well together and play both sides of the ball. So again, they have a really high quality team. They really like to open things up and build. But what I've been most impressed with their group is just how they get after the ball physically, defensively. And no secret, that's pretty similar to their coach in his former playing days. One of the best defenders that there's ever been. So again, they seem to have the mentality and the mindset of their coach. You can see that in all the film and all the games that we've watched, whether it was Alajuelense, and then this recent game against Chicago, and all the games in between. So there's something that's being built here, it's 2 good teams coming together at an early stage of the season. I don't think, again, either team will be at their very maximum right now, and neither team wants to be. We all want to be peaking at the right time, but this certainly is an elimination game with high stakes on it, and we both want to advance.
Coach, we have one last question here for you from David Malandra. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about how the transition is going from MLS play back to Champions League play?
Yeah, look, with elimination games, it's obviously a little bit different. Certainly you can't win the tie in this 90 minutes on the road. I think going on the road first, you have to be a little bit intelligent in how you approach it. You can't win it in this leg, but you certainly can lose it. And you've seen that in international competitions when teams get together. If you're not organized, if you're not ready from the opening whistle, it can be over. And that home game at your place, if you're down 3-0, becomes almost meaningless. So it starts with team defending, having the right approach in the first 15 minutes, something that our group has been good with. Again, we're disappointed in our result against Miami, but we also know that we had a lot of good moments in that game and controlled the match for the majority of it, and just had a couple letdowns. So we'll build on that performance, and we'll be even better going forward against Atlanta. But certainly, yeah, the international competition, with the fact that if you don't perform, you're out, is real. Our players understand that, and we'll need the intensity to start the game.
In this tournament, what do you think of the tournament so far? And also, does it mean anything that you guys haven't played Atlanta since 2019, which is a pretty long time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a good tournament. I mean, I like it. It was a nice experience for all of our guys to travel to Costa Rica to play Saprissa. You can see like a little bit like the differences between like the Champions League and the MLS, what's going on. Like to train in the stadium one day before, but I mean, it's like a competition. What we want to win, what we want to go on, and I mean, last time we played Atlanta, we did like very well. I know like the last game when we played home, where we beat Atlanta, I think like 3-1 at home. I mean, that was a great experience for our fans, for all the team, and we want that we just do like the same style tomorrow again, and just go and get the win in Atlanta.
Next question, please remember to raise your virtual hand and we'll open your microphone. Go ahead, Felipe.
Thank you. Hi, Kai. This is Felipe Cardenas with the Athletic. I just want to actually ask you about the potential matchup that you have facing George Bello. Or actually, no, you'll be on the left side, so you'll be taking on the right-sided fullback who is out. Brooks Lennon will not be playing in the match tomorrow night. What does that do, considering that you may be facing a guy that has not played any minutes so far this season? Just personally for you, that you're going to have plenty of the ball possibly on that left side going up the flank.
I mean, for me, it doesn't matter against which other player I will play. I mean, I will play my style. I will play how I'm the best. And I think like the other guy from Atlanta, he's not, maybe he didn't play any minutes this year, but I mean, he's an MLS player. He knows, Atlanta knows why they want to play him on the right side. And yeah, I mean, we're not scared in front of them, and we're not scared about the team, but we know that this like is probably like a dangerous team in front of their home fans and everything. But I mean, when we play our style and I play my style, I think we can get good on the left-hand side like we always do.
Any further questions? I don't see any raised hands. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thanks. Kai, I'm not sure we've had a chance to ask you yet what you think of Leon Flach, especially since he's been playing on the same side of the field as you most of the time so far.
I mean, I enjoy to play with him. I mean, like Leon is a great guy. He's a great addition to our team. I think everybody can see that he's like still young. He still have to improve a lot of things. But I mean, what he showed us right now, and not just in the games, also in training and everything. I mean, he's a good fighter. I can play like almost like blind with him because we can speak like German on the pitch. I mean, if I would speak like English with him, it would also not matter. But I mean, it's like now that we started to play blind, both of us know how the other one want to play. And I mean, he's a great addition to our team, and he's a great guy.
Do we have any other questions? No? Well, one more from Felipe. Go ahead, Felipe.
Thanks. Yeah. Last one for me. Just wanted to ask you about if you could, in your own words, describe the mentality of your team right now, coming off a tough loss against Miami. Now you're set to travel to face Atlanta, has not lost yet, and they're playing well under a new manager. How do you guys just kind of manage that part of the game?
I mean, everybody knows that we still like pissed a little bit about the loss, what we got on Saturday against Miami. But I mean, I think it could also be like a good thing that everybody wants more now, that everybody knows that we have to step a little bit up now. And I mean, we still played a good game against Miami. We maybe just have to score the second goal and then the game is done. But we know that like Atlanta is a different matchup, that Atlanta is like a very good team in our league right now. Last year they like a little bit, they struggled a little bit, but this year they are good. We just have to get like hard on the key guys and just manage our game, get our game going, and then I think we have a good chance to get something out of this game.